Hey, you folks, how you doing? This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce for the 29th of August, 2014. How y'all doing today? Yes, this is the mini podcast, if you will, commentary, whatever you want to call it. It's just something that I usually do sometimes when I have a lot on my plate and I need to free some of that stuff up. You know what I mean? Just get it out there. Put it out there. There are certain elements that we need to look at in this current structure we call the political system of the United States of America. Now, I wrote a couple of things on my Facebook page, and if you go to Facebook and look on, and I'll post this up on the Wayne S. Pierce Show Facebook page. So if you go there, you'll check it out. It's something I wrote, and I want to read it to you because I believe it has a lot in there, and yes, you have to sift through it, unfortunately. And it's very important. It's very important to understand just where we're at right now, today. And again, this is my own personal perspective of what's going on. I base it on fact. I base it on the situations going on. I put two and two together. It's pretty easy to figure out if you haven't already. And you've also, let me preface it by saying this, that you have a situation going on in the sense of you have the state-run media propagating their bullcrap. Then you have the independent media finding the truth and the facts. So it is literally up to you to decide what you want to believe. And I understand that. Okay? I completely understand that. But the facts are facts, and the facts are there, and that's what it is. They're all facts. There's no longer a conspiracy theory, folks, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me read this. Oh, yes, and the state-run media will propagate their version of what they believe to be the truth because that's how the script was written from Washington, D.C. and the Soros-funded organizations that prop up all this state-run media. I said this, and this is on the Wayne S. Pierce Show on Facebook. ISIS and ISIL and the Islamic Caliphate are here. Yes, if you cannot understand that, you are seriously blind. Sure, some people might say it's just fear-mongering or from conspiracy theorists or independent media. Well, people, get a freaking clue. My thoughts are that the state-run media is propagating their version of what is happening to put all of us in a corner, metaphorically speaking. But, literally, they are selling the idea that we are all safe. We're not safe. We're in the crosshairs of the globalist elites wanting to rid this planet of 90% of the population. Read the Georgia Guidestones. The concept has been in place for over a century, and the plans are being implemented today. What are we doing? What are we going to do? What is in store for humanity? Everyone around the world wants peace, freedom, liberty, and security for their countries and their homes, but there are those that will stop at nothing to destroy any freedom and liberty there is. If people cannot wrap their minds around that, you are definitely not paying attention. The powers that be have purposely caused us to be distracted by the indoctrination of our local schools. We have been deceived. It is time to take back our homes, our countries, our states, one by forcing our so-called leaders from their cozy offices and country clubs and demand they either do what we want or step down. The NSA, CIA has created and funded and are operating Facebook, Google, need to understand one very important thing. We the people will not back down, and we will keep moving forward until you are completely disbanded and are put out of business. The psyops perpetrated on the masses is not working anymore. We are awake. On a personal note, I will not accept anything less than actual, factual, accurate proof of anything that is contradictory to what I say. If you cannot supply that when you criticize or complain about what I say, your points are moot. In other words, if you don't know anything about anything, don't say anything. 1. The state-run media lies. 2. Independent media has found and is finding more and more information that is validating what some might call conspiracy theories. There are no longer theories. It's all fact. 3. People will always contradict others for what they say. Too bad the proof isn't in what the opposition presents. Number 4. Got questions? Ask. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. Better yet, go and search this information out yourself. Oh, wait. I know the playbook you use says, quote, find everything negative and opposite to what they are saying and present it in your argument and claim it to be the truth. Unquote. See? I already know how you would oppose everything I say. 5. You need to understand that you are being systematically and methodically herded into a corral, and eventually you will have to assimilate or be eliminated. If you cannot understand that, that's what I have said, folks. There's more. And there's one other thing I want to mention, and it's something I wrote earlier today, or earlier actually. And I really feel that it is, well, I'm going to go in this direction because I feel it is necessary to sift through all the bull crap. Okay? Last week, I guess it's been a month now, I'm not sure. A same-sex couple in upstate New York saw this farm that they wanted to have their wedding on. Right? Same-sex couple wanted to have a wedding on a farm. And this farm has a business. And what it is that you come, have your reception there, they open it up to events and all this, that, and the other thing, right? They do this. This farm, family farm, does this, okay? And that's okay. You would obviously agree with that. Yeah, that's cool, right? No. This same-sex couple did not accept the proposal from the family farm to have their reception there. And they told this same-sex couple, because we're Christians, we cannot have you, we will not, have your wedding here. We cannot host it. Basically, that's what it boiled down to. The Blaze is reporting after being fined, and this family farm was fined $13,000 because the same-sex couple sued and the courts demanded that the farm host this same-sex wedding. The Blaze is reporting, Billy Hollowell over at The Blaze wrote this, thank you, Billy. After being fined and forced to host gay weddings, Christian farm owners make drastic decision that will likely hurt their business. A husband and wife who were fined $13,000 told they could not discriminate against same-sex couples after refusing to allow a gay wedding on their New York farm have announced that they will no longer host any wedding ceremonies on their property. Quote, going forward, Cynthia and Robert Gifford have decided to no longer host any wedding ceremonies on their property other than the ones already under contract, unquote. Alliance Defending Freedom attorney James Traynor told The Blaze in a statement. A judge ruled earlier this month that the Giffords farm is a public accommodation because they rent their space out, and they therefore must abide by New York anti-discrimination law. Quote, since the order essentially compelled them to do all ceremonies or none at all, they have chosen the latter in order to stay true to their religious convictions, even though it will hurt their business in the short run, unquote, Traynor said. The family will continue hosting wedding receptions, butt ceremonies, which have traditionally been hosted inside the Giffords' home on the property or at another nearby location, will immediately cease. Same-sex receptions will be allowed on the grounds. The move comes after Jennifer McCarthy and Melissa Irwin, a lesbian couple, approached Cynthia and Robert Giffords in 2012 and inquired about holding their nuptials at the Liberty Ridge Farm in Shagacoke or something like that, New York, upstate New York, I think it is. The Giffords, who are Christian and hold belief that marriage is restricted to one man and one woman, said the couple was welcome to hold their reception on the property, but not the actual ceremony. McCarthy and Irwin complained to New York's Division of Human Rights. I had no idea they had that in New York, claiming they had been discriminated against as a result of their sexual orientation. The judge subsequently ruled in their favor, rejecting the Giffords' argument that the family owns a private business that is legally permitted to issue such refusals. Judge Migdalia Paris or something ruled that Liberty Ridge Farm is a public accommodation because it rents its space and regularly collects fees from the public. The judge said the fact that the owners live on the premises does not mean that their business is private in nature. Paris ordered that the Giffords must abide by anti-discrimination regulations under New York's human rights laws and pay a $10,000 fine, to the state, of course, as well as an additional $1,500 each to McCarthy and Irwin, Religious News Services reported. A representative of the Alliance Defending Freedom, a conservative legal firm, told the Blaze that in addition to the fines, New York State is forcing the Giffords to, quote, teach classes to their employees that impose the state's view of marriage, unquote. Gay marriage was legalized in the state in 2011. The Alliance Defending Freedom said Giffords should have the right to hold and exercise their religious views without a, quote, threat of government punishment, unquote. Can you say fascism, folks? The Giffords and their attorneys believe that the family has been punished for taking a biblical position and for exercising their First Amendment rights. Quote, the government should not force anyone to participate in or celebrate an event that violates their faith and beliefs. However, that's exactly what the state of New York has done to the Giffords, unquote, the firm said. Quote, the Giffords serve all people with respect and care. They have hired homosexual employees and have hosted events for same-sex couples, unquote. The family has not yet decided if it will appeal the judge's decision. Let me tell you something. Let me go back to the Hobby Lobby decision and say this. I support the Giffords. I support Hobby Lobby, number one. Number two, the government has no right whatsoever to tell me as a private individual what to do, when to do it, why to do it, how to do it, or that I have to cater to anyone else. Number three, it's purely communistic and fascistic for the government to do anything in regards to demanding that any couple, regardless if they're same-sex or heterosexual, to do anything against their own personal preferences or beliefs, and the government has no right to tell a business that they have to accept anyone's beliefs or principles. What does that mean? I'll break it down very simply for you. No one has a right to tell anyone what to do, period. Unless you have a boss that pays you every 2 weeks, and then, of course, you're obligated to do so. But the Giffords, a Christian family, has opened up their farm for the reception, and this couple didn't want to agree to that. So they run off to Big Brother and say, well, they discriminated against me. Oh, go beat them up. Go beat them up. So they did. They took them to court, and now the family had to pay $10,000 to the state, not to anything else, to the state, and had to pay $1,500 each to this couple. Who's bullying who in this situation? The government is bullying a Christian family in a private business. That's a private business. I don't give a crap if they open it up to rent space on their property for certain functions or events. It's a private business. Period. And the government comes along and literally pulls their rights out from underneath of them and tells them, you're going to have to cater to this same-sex couple. So what do? They say, okay, we're not going to have wedding ceremonies on here anymore. We'll have the receptions, we'll have your events, not a big deal, we'll go there, but we will not have couples in our home having weddings. We won't. It was in their homes, folks. Now, if this same-sex couple said, hey, look, there's a pond out here, there's a great area out, a good garden out here, look at that, it's really beautiful, let's have it there. I don't think they would have minded. But no, the same-sex couple were the bullies in this situation and ran to the state of New York and went, oh, they discriminated against us. Oh, my God. They're big bad Christians. Oh. I bet if they were Islamic or atheist, it wouldn't matter. Okay? If they were atheist, Islamic, or Protestant, or Catholic, or whatever, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. But no. Because it's a Christian family running their own private business, same-sex couple decides to go and tattletale. Oh, we're going to go tell Big Brother to come beat you up. And they did. So from now on, I'm going to say this. Matter of fact, I have friends of every race, creed, and sexual orientation that you can think of. I don't mind. You know, they want to do what they want to do. That's fine. Go ahead. It's not affecting me. Not a big deal. But I have a problem with same-sex couples who get all, offended by someone expressing their religious views and taking their private business and saying, no, I cannot do that due to the fact that I believe thus and such, and therefore I will not allow this. But I will offer you this instead of that. In other words, this couple in New York said, we're not going to have the wedding ceremony in our homes, but we will, if you want to have the reception here, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is this, folks. You've got now a politically correct philosophy in America where gays and lesbians, same-sex couples, LGBT, all this, have now become the bullies against our own freedoms, which, of course, they don't understand that they are covered by the same protective principles of the Constitution, but they're using it against people like myself or this Christian couple in New York or this business whose owners are Christian in New York, specifically. Or against cake decorators in Colorado or any number. They're bullies, folks. They're bullies, period. End of sentence. Bullies. That's it. Done. And I've got gay family members and friends who look at this situation, who look at any situation when it comes to pro homosexual activism and all this. They look at my gay friends are going, what the hell are they doing? They're hurting our movement. They have protected rights. What are they doing? I've heard and seen videos of gay people going, man, that's wrong. That couple did the wrong thing. What the heck are they doing? I've seen it. So even the people in their own quote-unquote community are against them or anyone like them. So what's the problem here, folks? The problem is peace, freedom, security, and liberty in this country are being basically shoved in the garbage disposal, and everybody else with all these other ideas and philosophies are crushing Christians, period. Specifically, Christians are being targeted for, they're being targeted for elimination. But, ISIS, ISIL, Muslims, radical Muslims, jihadists, all of that, and atheists and all this, they're just coming to the forefront saying, we want Christianity and religion completely taken out of the mix here in America, but they'll allow, Islamic jihadists to come in and kill Americans. That's what the atheists want, because they don't believe it. They, what's it going to hurt them, right? I can go on and on and on about that, but I won't. Because there's factual evidence to prove all of what I'm saying, but I encourage you to go look it up. Please, look it up. Examine it yourself. Draw your own conclusions on that. I'm just giving you my opinion and my 2 cents worth. So you take that and look that up. And I'm going to go to break, and I'll be back, and we'll get on to another article that I found very interesting. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast for the 29th of August, 2014. Talk to you in a bit. It's no longer a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy fact. The TSA is out on the streets. The FBI is spying on you. And you are in the crosshairs of the New World Order. Come listen to The Views Expressed with your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com.
Samo Radio, playing music for free so you can listen longer. Samo.
It's the 5 o'clock drive with Samo.
Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Shall we play a game?
Did you know that the first Matrix was designed to be a perfect human world where none suffered, where everyone would be happy? And it was a disaster. No one would accept the program. Entire crops were lost. Some believed that we lacked the programming language to describe your perfect world, but I believe that as a species, human beings define their reality through misery and suffering. So the perfect world was a dream that your primitive cerebrum kept trying to wake up from. Which is why the Matrix was redesigned to this, the peak of your civilization.
I am wondering, why are you here?
Hey, you folks, welcome back. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast for the 29th of August, 2014. How are you all doing today? It's Friday. Yes, it's Friday. Friday is a good day. You know, we got a 3-day weekend coming up, Labor Day. I don't know why they call it Labor Day. People still work on that day. You ever notice that? People are still working on Labor Day. It's kind of strange, isn't it? Isn't it? And I'm just totally blown away by that. You know, it's like, it's Labor Day and we're taking a day off, but some people work. Really? Are you serious? I don't get it. Just don't get it. Hey, the views expressed today will be on. I have a guest. It's going to be a little different. I'm probably going to get into some of the headlines, but I do have a guest. So I just got to figure out how to get him onto the show. And go from there. But I will figure it out by 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and we'll go from there. And I hope you're going to like it. Let me know. freeamericaradio@usa.com is the email address. freeamericaradio@usa.com. From dcclothesline.com. Would the U.S. military fire on American citizens? That's over on Free America Radio on Facebook. From finance.yahoo.com, Obama crafts legal rationale for immigration steps. In other words, he's going to take the law in his own hands and screw Congress. From New York Times, seeing Russian escalation. Ukraine leader plans response. From Politico.com, Google gets into game of drones. Like that wordplay there, folks? Also, yesterday I mentioned this from the newamerican.com article in CFR magazine. Give away money to stimulate the economy. Didn't work when Bush was president. MisguidedChildren.com, Obama administration's unconstitutional treaty with the United Nations. You might want to check that one out. And also, if you have the Facebook Messenger on your cell phone, I suggest taking it off now. Okay? Seriously, because there's a huge, huge problem, and your privacy and everything you do is recorded. And, well, you know, that's just the way it goes for the New World Order, right? Yeah, you just have to take responsibility for yourself, folks. You have to look at this situation and what's going on and ask yourself, why are they doing this? Number one, then you got to do your research to find out why. And number two, what purpose is it going to serve them to enslave everyone? Well, one word, control. They don't want you to have peace, freedom, security, and liberty at all. They don't want you taking care of yourself. They don't want you to think for yourself. They don't want you to educate yourself. They don't want that. They want you to fall in line with what their propaganda is. Period. That's just the way it is. Now, I know some people would look at me and say, well, that's not right, because, well, there has to be some truth in the media and what they say in my local news. No, there doesn't. There doesn't have to be any of that. Because let me encourage you to do a test on your own. Go to several news stations on your local area, on your local news stations in your local area, and then look at the national news. Okay? And you will find that the national news is going to say one thing, sensationalizing it to the nth degree, but your local stations are going to be saying the same thing, except glossing over it and not really editorializing because they can't. They were told not to. And go from there. It's the same stories twisted to suit the location of where you're at. Okay? In other words, you know, local news stories on ABC, NBC, CBS in California are going to be, they're going to be reported on. The stories are going to be reported on in one way to cater to or to, really move people emotionally in California to a certain direction. Okay? That's what's happening there. Now, the same news story reported on in, say, Columbus, Ohio, is going to be catering to those types of people in such a way to where they're going to get an emotional reaction in that region. It's called spin, folks. And Bill O'Reilly is lying through his teeth. The spin stops here? No, it doesn't. He spins it all the time. You go look at the videos from recent reports and such that he has. You know, people are starting to wise up to all of it, and they're starting to look at people like Jon Stewart over at The Daily Show and all that and the fake news that he has. Well, it's not fake. He uses a comedic twist to show the absurdity of what's going on, but yet people are complaining about him, and Hannity and other people and O'Reilly have, really fought with him as well. And Jon Stewart, that's not his real name, his brother is the head of the SEC, which is the Securities Exchange Committee. So, and yeah, he's got ties. Okay, I'm just saying. But anyway, when you look at this information and you look at the propaganda that is being put forth in your local media and on your national media as well, you got to sift through it all. You got to read between the lines, as they say. You got to open it up and say, wait a minute, that's not right. So we need to look at this. Or why is Obama doing this? Let's take a look at that. Let's examine why this. You know, CNN had to admit that the Foley beheading by the Islamic British sounding terrorist was fake. And some reports say that Foley died a year ago in the hands of Syria. But this whole situation is propaganda, period. Because the independent media and the alternative media have taken all of that, torn it apart, shoved it back into the faces of the state-run media and said, hey, have you looked at this? And the state-run media, CNN, Fox, and all that, have to admit going, oh my God, we got our hands caught in a cookie jar. And we have to admit that we flubbed up over here, okay? And that's what they're doing. I mean, it's basic stuff, folks. I mean, if you cannot sift through the information, even the information that I'm giving you, I encourage you to go look this stuff up yourself, by the way. And if you can't understand what is going on, then something's wrong with you, okay? I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. I'm just making it known that there's something wrong with an individual who cannot rip apart the news and find the truth in the facts. I mean, I got family members in California that are telling me in certain posts and emails and such going, well, why do you think we're not awake? Why do you think we're not aware? We have to take care of our families. We have to do this. Yeah, but how about on the weekends? Well, we just want to wind down. We just want to, watch our games and stuff. Well, yeah, that's the problem. You're stuck to that damn TV when you could be out on the overpasses putting up signs, remember Extortion 17, or, protesting something. You can do your part. I'm doing my part. I'm getting you the information out there, and I'm encouraging you to go look it up. Yeah, am I ever going to get out on the overpass? Yeah, probably. Am I ever going to get out into the downtown area and protest? Yeah, probably. There's a likely chance that I'll do that. The facts are the facts, folks. I'm opening the book and I'm showing you each and every chapter of what's going on and telling you what's happening and giving you the rundown as to what this government wants to do against you. And you're sitting there going, hey, what's on ESPN? Give me a beer. I find it incredibly odd, almost hilarious to the sad point of view of even looking at people and realizing that they are totally clueless. They're doing, and here's a great example. I encourage you to do this experiment. Go to the malls in your local areas. Just go to the malls just one day. Just go out. Just walk. Just walk around, do your business. If you want to shop, shop. If you want to eat. Not a big deal. But do this experiment. Examine people's looks and how their body language is as they're walking around, just like you. When they're going to the stores, when they're going to Starbucks, when they're going to the eateries, when they're going to Panda Express, all this, all that, when they're going to Victoria's Secret or whatever, watch what they do. Watch what they do. Their body language is going to telegraph what they're going to do. You're going to watch their head look at a certain store, and you're going to watch them eventually walk over there or to one of the kiosks in your mall, that kind of thing, because they telegraph exactly what they're going to do. Folks, the government, Washington, D.C., is telegraphing what they're doing to you. They're bending you over without lubrication and screwing you, and you don't care. Sorry being graphic, but hey, that's exactly what they're doing. And they're going to arrest you. By the way, the TSA, the militarized law enforcement in your cities, and I've heard this already, that if you step out of line, you're going to get SWAT teamed. I've already heard in the last couple of weeks, a couple of homes have been raided by police. People have been shot. Somebody in Walmart picked up a toy gun and was carrying it, and they got beat up by security, by cops, the local law enforcement. And TSA and militarized law enforcement is just going to come right into your house and take whatever they want. Because someone said that you were a threat. Someone saw you do something and they were suspicious, that you were on your front lawn helping your child with their lemonade stand, so the neighbors had to call the SWAT team to come and shut you down. You see how stupid political correctness is, folks? Do you see how stupid this whole situation is? We've got political correctness running rampant through the United States of America. We got a militarized law enforcement unconstitutionally coming into your home and taking whatever they want because some neighbor in your neighborhood got suspicious because they saw you out in your front lawn with your kid with a toy gun. And I've heard kids in their own homes outside playing with toy guns and being SWAT teamed and killed. You've heard this too. What the hell is going on, people? Are you so naive and blind that you can't see this stuff? Anyway, I'm going to go to break here in a minute. But I want to remind you that all of this stuff is happening in front of you. All of this stuff is happening. And if you don't care, you might as well just pack your crap and go to, Canada or Mexico or China or Russia, because you obviously don't give a crap about the United States of America or your freedoms. Yeah, I said it. What are you going to do? Disagree with me? Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. I'd love to hear from you. I want to hear your side of the story. I want to hear what's happening in your areas. So please email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Put radio in the subject line when you're emailing me. That way I know you heard the show. I don't know, folks. I don't know why people cannot wake up to the fact that this is going on, that this is happening right out in front of your faces. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't have, I don't comprehend this lack of empathy that people have. I don't understand that. I just don't. You see it happening out in front of your face, and you're sitting there too worried about, oh my God, I got to get home from work to see my game on ESPN or whatever, and it's just, I don't know. Got a problem, folks. And the problem is apathy. Go look that word up, dictionary.com. Apathy. Go look it up. Come join me on the Views Express Live today. I have a guest. As soon as I figure out how to get him on the show, as far as so that you can hear him. The Free America Radio Network, right there on Spreaker.com, and also the Views Express Live on Spreaker and at freeamericaradio.us. It's going to be a little bit different show for a Friday. That's okay. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. Hey, what the heck. You can email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. You can also go to freeamericaradio.us and help out the show if you'd like. That's completely up to you. I would very much like your support. You can donate if you like. You can sponsor the show if you like. You can go to the top of the page at freeamericaradio.us and get your emergency food supply. As much as you want, you'll be helping out your family and at Free America Radio Network all at the same time. So, hey, isn't that cool? All right. Anywho, folks, I'm going to go to break. The last segment of the show is coming right up, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back to give you more of my opinions of what's going on. Talk to you in a bit.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
No focused drivel, no media spin. Logic over emotion, fact over fiction. The home of independent conservative thought. The Conservative Voice with your host, Jeff Wagner, only on the Conservative Radio Network.
Don't wait until another natural or man-made disaster strikes. Have at least 72 hours of emergency gear near you at all times, and that includes food. Get your emergency food supply today. Go to freeamericaradio.us and at the top of the page, click on the emergency food supply link. Help your family by purchasing as much emergency food supply as you need. You'll be helping out your family and Free America Radio Network. Thank you. See that car in your rear view mirror? The driver wants to kill you. Don't take it personally. You just happen to be in the way. Now, with a gun in one hand and a steering wheel in the other, this distant runner-up in the human race feels empowered for the very first time. At least our boys finally found a purpose in life. Red Asphalt by Scott Cherney. Available at Amazon.com.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. The Free America Radio Network. Go to freeamericaradio.us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Hold on tight. Get ready.
Hey, folks, welcome back. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast for the 29th of August, 2014. How are ya? Yeah, I always like to ask you how you're doing because, I'm curious. Do I care? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. If you're doing okay, all right. Cool. Virtual high five. If you're not doing okay, well, you can do something about that, can't you? It's up to you. I would think that it would be up to you, yeah. I can't throw you on the ground and twist your arm and make you believe what I believe. That's why I encourage you to go out and look this stuff up yourself. So, I have a question. It's a real simple question. It's a question of personal responsibility. If you knew that your boss was doing something illegal, would you turn them in? Well, knowing full well that if you turn your boss in, you would probably lose your job because the company would probably be shut down, or someone would come along as, maybe they're the assistant or, their co-owner or whatever, would come along and probably make sure that everybody still had a job. Who knows? Either way, that's a personal question as far as what would you do if you found out your boss was doing something illegal? Would you turn them in? Well, I'm going to say this, that our government, Washington, D.C., we are the boss. They have found that we are doing something illegal, and that is basically standing on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America. And they want us gone. But it's done incrementally and systematically and methodically. They're not just going to come right out and do it, because they know that we, the people, will stand up and defeat them. We understand that. They understand that. They know this. So we do everything we can to defend our freedoms and liberties and make sure this country is secure. and liberated from any type of tyrannical government. That is what the Second Amendment is for, folks. First Amendment is we have the right to express and assemble and speak the way we want. The Second Amendment says we're going to make sure the first one is protected. And also, we're going to make sure our executive branch of our government that we've set up does not take control of everything. We, the people, are going to make sure of that. But the Washington Times has reported this. Unions distance themselves from Obama economic record. Largest U.S. labor union not ready to back Hillary Clinton 2016 White House bid. Good for them. The country's largest labor union won't endorse any Democrat who has the same economic team as President Obama and won't be getting behind Hillary Rodham Clinton early in 2016 presidential race, AFL-CIO President Richard Trumka said Thursday. Quote, if you get the same economic team, you're going to get the same results. The same results aren't good enough for working people, unquote. Mr. Trumka, who leads the AFL-CIO Federation of 56 unions with more than 12 million members, said repeatedly that the working Americans were still, quote-unquote, hurting amid a lethargic economic recovery. Quote, for most folks, it seems to be an economy of stagnation, unquote, Mr. Trumka said at a breakfast with reporters hosted by the Christian Science Monitor. As for the 2016 race to replace Mr. Obama, Mr. Trumka said the union would withhold an endorsement until the field fills out and union leaders collectively vet all of the candidates, thereby avoiding a repeat of 2008 when several unions split endorsements between Mrs. Clinton and Mr. Obama. Quote, we've signed an agreement with all of the unions of the AFL-CIO that no one will endorse until we decide that all of us are going to endorse, unquote, Mr. Trumka told reporters. Let me interject something right here. The unions are very, very powerful. This is why we need to get rid of them. But what about collective bargaining? What about our rights? What about our workers' rights? What about fair wages? What about this? What about that? Unions pushed for that, yes. But guess who were the ones that called for a living minimum wage? They dropped the living, but it's now a minimum wage. That was the unions. Go look it up. Because there was a compromise that had to be made. Now, technically speaking, if a company is not making the money, you can't pay the people what they want. I understand that. Logic proves it out. But here, years later, we've got a union that is nothing but deep pockets for presidential candidates and other candidates in Congress. And whose money are they using? They're using money from the unions whose members pay into that. By the way, have you seen the statistics in the last 5 or 6 years? Memberships in unions are dropping considerably because of the fact that as union members have come forth and said, I'm not going to have my money used for a candidate that I don't agree with. But here the AFL-CIO, one of the biggest union, I would say, in the country, says, quote, we've signed an agreement with all of the unions of the AFL-CIO that no one will endorse until we decide that all of us are going to endorse, unquote. In other words, you don't have a choice. The union members do not have a choice. The corporate heads, quote unquote, that run those unions and those union representatives are the ones that will decide for the rest of the workers. This is communism, folks. This is workers of the world unite. This is fascism at its basic. At its basic level. You're not going to see it any other way. And if you say unions are good, then you are not doing your homework. My dad and my brother are both part of unions. My dad was, he's retired, but my brother is a part of the union, the railroad union. But let me tell you something, just on a basic level, just on a basic, nondescript level, if you were part of a union, and if you are, you better check this out, and if your union representative in your shop says, we all have to vote on this, we all have to vote on what candidate we want to represent us in Washington, D.C., as far as Congress, Senate, whatever, House, whatever it is. And if you personally did not agree with that particular candidate they were wanting you to endorse, what would you say? Folks, Logic 101. If you don't like it, don't do it. If you don't agree with it, don't agree with it. Don't compromise your principles just because a group of people are bullying you to compromise your principles. And if you're paying into a union as a union member and this is what they're doing, you better rethink what you're doing. Are unions good? I would say in some parts of the United States they are. But overall, their structure is corrupt. Okay? I myself personally believe in a fair market living wage per region because some areas cost of living is up and over what people are getting paid. And in some areas, in some regions, the cost of living is really low and people are okay financially. I believe in abolishing the minimum wage altogether and implementing a fair market living wage per region. I don't believe in a fair tax. I believe in a flat tax, 15% across the board. I don't give a crap if you make $1 billion a month or $1,000 a month. It doesn't matter, 15% across the board. It'll rebuild the middle class. And by the way, there are no classes. It's just a separation of ideology. It has nothing to do with actual facts. The rich are getting richer and the poor are becoming non-existent, and the middle class is paying for the demise of the poor and the enrichment of the rich. And pretty much that's what it is. I mean, look at it. Okay? Continuing on with this article. And, actually, I'm going to put this article up on the Wayne S. Pierce Show Facebook page. Actually, Free America Radio Facebook page, because it does have that element in it. So, it's up on the Free America Radio Facebook page. I've gotten to the point now, folks, where it's either one way or another. There is no compromise to middle ground solutions. None whatsoever. I don't care what you think about, we have to compromise to make this happen, and sooner or later it will go our way. No, it won't. Have you seen the last 100 years of the United States of America? Compromising with the enemy doesn't work. Compromising with the globalist doesn't work. Compromising with corporations doesn't work. Compromising with anybody that goes against your principles and your beliefs doesn't work. Okay? I'm just pointing that out. That's pure fact. You can go look at it. Okay? I don't... You can do whatever it is you want to do. We get that. We get that. But as far as principles, beliefs, all of that, we have to understand that putting all that aside, your own personal beliefs and freedoms are at stake. We need to understand that no matter what we do, we are being scrutinized. Have you seen the cameras down in your downtown areas of your cities? If you haven't noticed, the housing authorities and the homeowners associations are more communistic than anything else on the face of this planet, other than Washington, D.C. Your individual rights to have what you want, to be who you want to be, to go where your conscience guides, is now against the ideology of those in power. They don't want you to be free or think for yourself or be able to freely express your disagreement with our federal government. Have you noticed that lately? It's an imperative that we pull back from the very cliff that we've been pushed to, turn around and kick some major ass and say we've had enough. And if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to stand up, as Brian Lang says over at livetruthradio.com, stand up, speak out, get involved. If you're not willing to do that, then you have no balls. You have no guts. You have no ambition. You have nothing to even stand on. You don't know the concept of peace, freedom, liberty, and security for this nation. You don't care if you don't have the balls to stand up to the bullies in Washington, D.C., or the bullies in the court, or the bullies that want you to accept whatever it is they want. Well, no. To me, this is just me. It doesn't reflect anybody else. It's just me. I don't compromise. I don't compromise to suit somebody else's needs. I compromise to suit the need of the relationship that I have with other people. And if that means that this other person or this other group or somebody else is going to be left out, then they should have thought about that. Because the benefit to the group and to the individual is what we are seeking, not the benefit of an individual that doesn't want anything other than absolute control. And this is what the executive branch is doing at this point, because now here's President Obama trying to find legal ways to continue his executive power. Okay? And the only other option I believe that he has at this point is to hand everything over to the United Nations and have them govern the United States. And he'll step away and wash his hands of it all and say he did a good job. Well, he didn't. He sucked. And he's sucking now. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I have a distinct feeling, and I hope this doesn't happen, and it may not, but I have a distinct feeling that before the midterm elections in November or just shortly thereafter, some big event is going to take place, and he's going to suspend the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America, and he's going to set himself up as a dictator. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But as humanity and as citizens of the United States of America, we have to understand that this possibly could happen, and we have to do something about it. Anyway, I'm getting out of here, folks. Come join me on the Views Express Live today at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Free America Radio Network on Spreaker.com and also on freeamericaradio.us. Email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Please let me know how you feel. freeamericaradio@usa.com. I'll talk to you guys later today at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Views Express Live right here on the Free America Radio Network.